CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Embattled Congressman George Santos is expected to turn himself in New York this hour to face federal criminal charges. The Justice Department has been investigating his finances, and he's admitted to making up stories about his background and qualifications for the job. Santos' fellow New York Republican Mark Molinaro.
George Santos should have resigned in December. He should have resigned in January. He should have resigned yesterday, and maybe he'll resign today. Sooner or later, honesty and justice will be delivered to him.
Correspondent Caitlin Huey Burns from Capitol Hill.
As for the congressman, before all of this, he appeared to be moving ahead, business as usual. Just earlier this month, he had announced his bid for re-election.
Writer E. Jean Carroll is celebrating court victory over Donald Trump. A New York civil jury found the former president liable for sexual assault and defamation. Carroll tells CBS Mornings,
They said, there's not such a thing as a perfect victim. We find him guilty of this.
The jury's ordered Mr. Trump to pay her $5 million in damages. He says he'll appeal. Inflation's easing some, but it's still stubbornly high. It slowed to a 4.9% increase in April after prices rose 5% the month before. As for what cost more, CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
You may want to stick to a used car after all. Used car prices down 6.6% from a year ago. A new car 5.5% higher than a year ago. Energy prices were down 5.1% from a year ago, led lower by gas.
With COVID-era restrictions set to expire at midnight, the Biden administration is rolling out sweeping new border rules for asylum seekers today. Correspondent Manuel Bajorquez in South Texas.
The crackdown in downtown El Paso has already begun. Law enforcement and city officials have been clearing out street encampments where thousands of migrant men, women, and children have had to sleep for days as nearby shelters like the Sacred Heart Church remain at capacity.
I can't go back to where I came from because I could kill my son.
Schools in Florida are getting a new batch of K-12 textbooks that have been heavily edited. CBS's Jim Crisula.
Some are calling it chilling. The Florida Department of Education has released the initial list of social studies textbooks it approved and rejected for the upcoming school year, including approving a book where the publisher removed references to racism, police brutality, and the murder of George Floyd.
From the Making Babies Department, Britain's fertility regulator confirms the births of the country's first wee ones, created with an experimental technique combining DNA from 3 different people. This is CBS News.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear the good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.